Hello and welcome to the Design and Prosper podcast. This is an Ask Chris and Don episode where we are answering designer questions. You're listening to episode 143. Hey, I'm Chris.
And I'm Donna. Welcome into this beautiful space where we have open and honest conversations about running a graphic design business.
We'd love to help you throw imposter syndrome to the curb and position yourself as a high-end graphic designer.
Yes, and each week we'll share empowering advice, practical tips, and strategies to help you thrive in business. We are so happy you're here.
Hey, welcome in everybody.
Hello, hello. We have an Ask Chris and Don episode. We love these.
Yeah, we've got 3 different questions
Yes.
that have been submitted. We love your questions, so please keep them coming. All you need to do to submit your own question for us to answer on the podcast is to head to designandprosper.co/podcast. And if you scroll down, there's a form. You can just submit it by typing your question in, or you can leave us a little audio, which we love, 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 and hardly anybody uses it. So you would not believe the excitement that happens in our inbox when we see those audio questions come through. So give us a little thrill and do that. We'd love that.
Yeah, help a girl out. We'd love that.
And the other thing that you can do is send us a DM on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you can actually send us a little audio message that way as well. So whatever floats your boat, whatever, we know you've got questions. We know you've got stuff going on and we can help you with. So get your questions in.
Yeah. All right, let's dive in. So our first question is all about a designer who is wondering, should they share personal vulnerabilities with their clients? So here's the question. It's from Cassandra. Hi, Chris and Donna. Thank you so very much for helping the design community. You are so welcome, Cassandra. Your content is amazing. Aw, thank you. We love hearing that as well. Okay, my question is, what are your thoughts on sharing personal vulnerabilities in order to make a connection with your audience? I have seen a rise in this trend, i.e. divorce stories, mental health stories, and question the motives and success behind it. At almost 50, I'm of a generation that is more hesitant to share personal details. It feels somewhat unprofessional. I happily share my opinions, my values, my personality, and stories as they relate to my business. But because I'd rather be chosen and valued by clients for these things and my abilities, I'm very wary of sharing my more personal experiences. For example, I'm a mum to 2 kids living with a disability, and I prefer to keep my family life separate from my business. I suspect that I might be seen as incapable if I share these vulnerabilities. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Thanks, lovelies.
Oh, this is a great question. And I'm
Such a
sure
good
so
question.
many designers will be wondering this too, because it is a generalization. We say it a lot, but a lot of designers aren't really oversharers and we're maybe a little bit more on the introverted side, or just like to keep business and personal life separate. I've noticed that as, just we've worked with so many designers and it's not always essential to the story of you running a design business. I think a lot of the times we're seeing these personal stories being shared because they are different types of businesses. Like you'll see it a lot in the coaching world, the people who are selling like you can make a lot of money or like become a money magnet or what, those sorts of people. There's different types of businesses who are sharing the personal vulnerabilities, but honestly, it really needs to be a personal decision of yours. I wouldn't not do it because you think people will think that you're incapable. I think they'll see you as strong and more than capable and amazing. So don't let that be the thing that stops you. Just wanted to say that. But if it feels like there's an ick factor there for you, then don't do it. You don't need to do it to be successful in business.
No, you definitely don't. And what I've been noticing, there was a massive push towards sharing vulnerabilities for quite a while there. And now there's been a pullback from that. And I'm noticing that a lot of people are doing it less and less. And I think probably for the same reason that Chris has just outlined there, that it doesn't have a lot to do with the work that you're doing. So then, therefore, you have to question why you would share that particular piece of information. I think if the complexity or the vulnerability has something to do directly with how you work with your process, or
how you transform your client.
How you transform your client, or something that had a direct correlation between the way that you work and what you do, and the transformation you offer your client, like Chris just said, I think then perhaps why not, if it feels good, and definitely if it doesn't feel out of integrity for you. Chris and I are all about maintaining integrity when it comes to this stuff. If it doesn't feel good, definitely don't do it. Don't do it because you should do it or you think you should do it.
Or some marketing expert has said that you should do it.
Yeah, absolutely no. Because like anything with business, if you're going to show up in this way once, the expectation is that you'll show up in that way again and again. You know, people get used to it. And then you'll find that you'll be trying to find ways to actually tell this story more than the story of transformation or the way that your business does business. So it could get like an extra layer that becomes a bit burdensome as well if you haven't got all this content to share about this particular thing. Not to say that you can't have a comment about your disability or a vulnerability and that be one comment and then you move on. It's your business, your way, honestly. But just be mindful and intentional about what you share. And I think that's what you are intentional. That's why you're asking this question.
Yeah.
You know, so you already have, you know, that integrity at play here. So yeah, just maintain that. You know, you've got every right to do that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to circle back to what Dom was talking about before, where she's noticed it less and less, and there might be a trend away from it. And it could possibly be because consumers even consumers of people on social media have become clued in to this approach. Like, it is a play and people are getting more savvy to it, and they know that somebody is trying to sell them something, or they're doing it maybe to be controversial, or they're doing it to get more engagement and more likes. It is a play. And so maybe it doesn't feel as genuine anymore than probably the thought leaders who did it just because that's just how they were doing it. That's how they were rolling. But then when you've got all these people who are forcing that kind of content, yeah, I think there's a saturation point. And then people are like, I don't want to do that anymore. Then you see the rise of things like the faceless accounts and that sort of thing, because people want a different way, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. And I think that you can definitely choose your own adventure with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how you've said, Cassandra, that you happily share your opinions, your values, your personality and stories. I love that. And I think that in itself will mean that you are showing up for your audience in a really engaging way, because you're being really intentional about it. And I can't stress that. I can't stress that enough. Be intentional no matter what path you take. Maintain integrity. You know, like Chris said before, that ick factor. Now, if that ick factor is present in any way, shape or form, in any of the posting or any of the ways that you are showing up for your audience, then that in itself is reason not to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, just check in with yourself. Make sure that you feel really good about the storytelling that you are offering. And if it contributes to your business as a whole, all the better.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's the storytelling. Storytelling is a powerful selling tool, and that's why people are using it as well. So what is the story you're telling, and why are you telling it? Is it because you're speaking to the transformation that you're going to offer clients? Because that's why a lot of influencers and people who are successful at doing this and telling all about their most darkest times, what they're doing is they're selling a transformation, and the product is, I was here, I was right down here, and now I'm up here. So is that relevant to you as a graphic design business? Probably not, but it's about the business model and what you're actually selling. So if you look at the people who are doing it, you can really see, that's because they're selling that particular transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So all the best with it, Cassandra. Stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
Stay in integrity. And remember, your business, your way, your socials, your way. Yep. So, yeah, I think you've really answered your own question. So stick with what you're doing, lovely.
Yeah.
And all the best. Let us know how you go.
All right, next question. This is about a demanding retainer client. Okay. Ooh, yeah.
It's a biggie.
So now this is from, I think the pronunciation is Anya. It might not be Anya, but I had a friend called Anya who spelt her name differently to this, but it might be Annie. I'm not sure. So it's A-N-E. So apologies, beautiful, if we are completely butchering your name. All right, because I'm sure it says absolutely beautiful. So, hi. First of all, I just wanted to say how much I adore your podcast. Oh, I'm embarrassed to read this out, Don. Okay, I'll keep on going.
Keep going, lovely.
All
I
right.
love it.
I'm blushing. I'm blushing now.
it.
Okay. Love the warmth you infuse to all topics and the practical tips you share on each episode. I'm a graphic designer and a communications consultant, and I would love to hear your take on this. I currently have a client on retainer. We work together between 2 to 3 days per week, but I would love to tweak the agreement. That's a big chunk of time.
That's a big retainer. That's almost like a part-time job.
It is, yeah. At the moment, I am expected to be online and available and dedicate full days to this one client, which can be exhausting and gives me little room to be flexible and take on other clients or work on my own company. Yeah. I definitely want to keep the volume of work, but perhaps work more as a freelancer any time of day when I want to, doing my business my way. We like the sound of that. We'll speak to the freelancer
Except for the freelancer bit.
We'll talk to that in a little bit. I am not sure how to approach the communication with my clients and how to make the agreement evolve towards that direction without them feeling like they are somehow getting less for the same amount of money. Help! Love from a huge fan of both of you.
Aww, we love you.
Yes.
How exciting. Okay, this is a doozy, but I want to circle back to how Chris and I both said it almost in unison. 2 to 3 days a week, that's a part-time job, right? The other thing that I also want to highlight is that we don't believe you need to be a freelancer to set some boundaries. This is about boundary setting. And the third point that I want to make really quickly straight up is that if you are delivering the same amount of transformation and the same amount of projects, they're not going to feel like they're getting less for the amount of money that they've already been spending. It's just about you taking the power back and really popping in some really clear boundaries around your availability and the time that you are willing to be available to them.
That's the way retainers need to work. And that's actually the only way they can work successfully is if you take really strong hold of the reins and project manage this.
Yeah.
So you're not at their beck and call. Because when you are available to them for 2 to 3 days, and that's a little bit wishy-washy as well, is it 2 days? Is it 3 days? It needs to be really clear in a retainer because otherwise you're essentially shutting your doors. Even energetically, you'll be shutting your doors to extra work because you're too overwhelmed by the prospect of them dropping more work on you for that third day, perhaps. Maybe it's like, well, sometimes they give me 2 days, sometimes they give me 3 days. But it's like, how can you plan? How can you take on other big, juicy projects when you don't really know how much work you're going to get with this particular client?
Absolutely. And I think it's all about boundaries. Boundaries. Retainers are all about setting up a working relationship from the get-go and them never really knowing or having access to you, for days at a time. So having office hours, certainly having office hours. So my office hours are Tuesday to Thursday from 9 until 2 p.m. And I will respond to you within 24 hours of seeing a comment on my client portal board so that they don't expect that you're just sitting there for 3 days working on their project like an outsourced employee.
Yeah.
External employee, I should say. So that's really, really important to get that right from the get-go. Now, the way you frame this is to actually say that you're working behind the scenes on your business. You're making some changes to the way that you run your business. And what's really exciting is it's going to benefit them. Make sure that they realize nothing is changing. They're going to get absolutely as much from you as what they're used to getting, but we're going to run it this way now. And you might need to introduce a client portal. That might be something that you need to do. We've got a free one on our freebies page. If you'd like to head to designandprosper.co/free, you'll see that we've actually got an example of a really good client portal board there. But depending on what you're using, I've got extra questions for you. And that's the only downside to asking a question in these episodes because we want to have a chat about it.
We have follow-up questions.
We've got follow-up questions. That's right. But Boundaries, set the boundaries, create a client portal, let them know that you're working behind the scenes on your business and you're coming up with this new approach to retainers. Give them something like a welcome guide. Welcome. This is what all of my new clients are getting, but because you are such a valued client, we want you to have the same process. And then you can reestablish boundaries or establish boundaries that have never existed, and just make sure that they know what they're getting and when they're getting it. And the bottom line is that they'll still get all of the same deliverables at the same rate, but you'll have your control back.
Yeah. And one of the follow-up questions I would have for you is this actually profitable, this arrangement for you? So if you are making yourself available for 2 to 3 days every week, is it at a rate that is going to help you achieve your lifestyle goals and your business goals, your financial goals? Is it sustainable? Because
love that.
While you're saying yes to this client, you're saying no to other opportunities. And I know it's scary. Maybe it is a transition to I'm only available these particular 2 days for this client and no other times. And when Dom was saying, like, make sure that they see it as a win-win. So you could say things like, this is going to be much more efficient and it's going to ensure we get more elevated results.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I just want to circle back to where you say perhaps I work more as a freelancer. That suggests to Chris and I that you are not quite clear on your business model. Now, good timing. We are running a 3-day training. It's completely free, where we'll take you through, it's called Pathway to Profit, where we will take you through your why, getting set up, walk you through setting up the right and appropriate business model for you, which will include retainers. We can see that from the get-go now, right through to all of the systems and procedures that you'll need in place for a successful graphic design business. So we encourage you, if you haven't already signed up for that, sign up for that, because you'll be able to see inside our incredible worksheet, which will help you work out the right business model for you. So we feel like that's what needs to happen, and definitely check out our podcast where the dirty F word in graphic design. Can't remember the number off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, I think it's called Ditch the Dirty F Word, and it is an
Thank
early one.
you.
It might be around the 30s. So for some reason, 37 is popping into my head. It might be that.
You might
Who
be
knows?
right. Yeah. Awesome. So check that out, and do come along and join us in the Pathway to Profit training, because it will be, I think, invaluable for you for setting up your business in a way for you to move forward and then advise this client on how things are going to be done into the future.
Yeah, love that. All right, good luck with that, lovely. You've got this.
Yeah.
Be brave. That's a be brave one.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a big, be brave one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next question is from Michelle. The message is, hi, Chris and Donna. I absolutely love your podcast. There's lots of O's in there. I have a question that's been plaguing me for a while. It's the belief that my preferred target audience can't afford me. I love working with solopreneurs, but have had many comments saying that they don't reach out because I'm too expensive. But I can't drop my pricing, otherwise my business won't be viable. I could target larger organizations, but it doesn't feel as fulfilling. We getcha. Your advice and guidance would be so appreciated. We absolutely resonate with this. We love working with the startup businesses, and we're guessing that you are a brand designer, Michelle, and want to work with these gorgeous businesses who are hitting the ground running, and you want to be a part of that journey with them.
Yeah.
So absolutely, it's about language around making sure that these clients know the power of your work and that it is a match to the premium prices that you are going to be asking.
Yeah.
What they're going to get for that. What's the transformation?
Yeah. So the thing with this question is, it seems like you need to do Pathway to Profit training
As
For
well.
sure.
That's the second one
You
in
really,
this Q&A.
really do, because
Yeah.
this is going to give you lots of clarity around this. And in the last episode, we were talking about these 5 foundations for a successful business, right? And one of them was figuring out who you can serve. And sometimes we do have a dream target audience that might not be profitable. And that's the reality of it. Like, we can't sugarcoat it. It just might be facts. So you need to work that out. And there's questions that we asked in that previous episode that will help you understand that. For example, are they gathered in large groups somewhere, like online? Are startup businesses online somewhere in groups? Well, yes, they are. Then we need to find out whether they have the budget. Do they have the money to pay for? Well, some of them do. So there could be a profitable market for this. But like Don said, it could be that your messaging needs to be a match to being able to communicate the value so that they will find the money to pay for your incredible services, right? But also, I just want to ask, have you tried the larger organizations? Have you worked with medium to large organizations? And do you know if it's actually going to be fulfilling or not? Because it might actually be. You won't know until you try it. Or you might have had a couple of clients like that and they weren't a fulfilling experience, but there could have been a values mismatch. So all these things need to be in alignment as well.
Yeah, I love that, Chris, because Chris and I found the medium to larger clients were incredibly fulfilling, incredibly creative avenues that we were able to explore with these clients because they had the budget. So it was very, very exciting and fulfilling. But we did have some duds as well. Like we were working with some clients, not duds, that's probably a bit harsh, but we were both, I think I can speak for both of us, Chris. We had clients that were bread and butter clients that they weren't as fulfilling, but they were a really appreciated contribution to our mix because they were helping us meet our revenue goals. So we called them bread and butter clients where they weren't as fulfilling, but very important to our business. And you know, great people generally. We had a match with values there. So we had a couple of those people from time to time come in and out of our business where the work wasn't wonderful, but they contributed to our financial goals. So we really appreciated them. So there's that.
And the work was easy well. And don't underestimate the power of ease in your design business. One of my favorite clients ever looked very dry on the outside. You wouldn't have thought that would be a dream design client for any kind of design business, but they were. So it is a bit of a case of don't judge a book by its cover. But the person we dealt with there was a lot of fun and the team was great and the values were aligned, and we turned this relatively boring subject matter into something really fun and exciting, actually.
Yeah.
Like graphically, we were able to do a lot with it. It's
because
not
they
just
trust you.
Yeah.
They trust you and you can have lots of creativity and it can be very fulfilling. So, yeah, I love that. Don't count them out. Give it a go and give it a go across multiple avenues. Like do a really great test market on these before you ditch them completely.
Yeah.
But we also get that solopreneurs and startup businesses are so exciting, and you get to share in that journey with them and that collaboration and that the vision, helping them realize their vision is incredibly fulfilling. Yeah. So we get that. So just make sure that your language is right. But I agree with Chris. Pathway to Profit will be awesome for you. It's free training. So check that out because we believe that that will really benefit you and set you up for exactly the type of business that you want to be working in.
Yeah, also listen to an episode we did. It was episode 61, Graphic Design Pricing, What to Do When Clients Can't Afford You. Because there can be options for these startup kind of businesses as well, because we do not want you to reduce your rates. That's definitely not the solution. And in that episode, we talk about some different options that you can do. There can be template-based design, because small clients do become bigger clients. But the thing is, when you are dealing with this audience, they just might not have the budget right now for the full deluxe services that you want to offer.
Yeah, but they will. If you do your job well, and we presume you will, then they will have the budget down the track. So, yeah, it's a great episode to listen to. Another good one is episode 123. Your pricing is not the problem, and that will help you with language and ways to communicate the value so that people who are in that bracket where you're too expensive, we can't really afford you, will actually realize, can we afford not to go with you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, check that one out as well.
Another resource for you is our premium pricing training.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely have a look at that if you haven't. So just head to designandprosper.co/free and you'll see it there as part of our freebies. It's an on-demand training all about the language that you can use to elevate your services so that you can charge premium prices.
Yeah, absolutely. And that value will be communicated where it will be undeniable. And even a solopreneur, entrepreneur who is just starting out, they'll want in on that.
Yeah.
They'll want you to work with them because they will want to set that right trajectory from the get-go.
Yeah. We are actually working with a design client at the moment who is a startup who has invested with us, and they are paying premium prices with us.
Yeah.
So it is possible. It is doable. But the transformation language needs to be there. They need to understand what they're going to get.
Yep. They need to know that you are going to deliver something exceptional for that great investment that they're about to outlay.
Yeah.
And so the power is in communicating the value, and it will be undeniable. And a startup business, if they are really, truly switched on entrepreneurs, they will want to get that right.
Yeah.
They'll want to get it right from the get-go. So, yeah, don't be afraid to communicate that value.
Yeah.
In fact, it's not about being afraid. In fact, it is essential that you communicate that value. Make sure that's happening for sure in your business. So all the best, lovely.
Yeah.
Be brave, stick to your prices.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We'll wrap it up there. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Bye.